All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rokah Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth, and salutations to the sincere Akim and Aquatham. Listen, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Excuse me. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another quick and Lord's will as always an edifying lesson. And for today's lesson, I just wanted to go through this quick article I came across. So this might turn into like a little bit of a history lesson, so to speak. So the article is titled "Negro Who Can Write Hebrew," right? And it's an article I saw like a few weeks ago, like a while back, from the Apostle Gabar brought this out, and I just wanted to read it out and kind of add a little bit more to what he brought out, right? So for those who don't know and haven't come across this particular article, and what I want to do is go through it, bring a couple scriptures, and as always, Yahweh Ratazah, Lord's will that this lesson may be edifying, right? So, all right, so let's jump right in. Okay, so this was an actual article that was published back in the year 1897. So this is a little, over 100 years old, essentially, right? I forgot the publication, um, the name of the newspaper, but I believe it's a newspaper that still operates today. I could be wrong on that, but I just forgot the name of the newspaper, so just please forgive me. What I can do is just link it in the description. But so here it is. So it says Negro who can write Hebrew. It says he is deaf and dumb and comes from an African town. So here it says Hartford, Connecticut, September 19th. A young African Negro has been in the city for the last few days who claims to be a Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb and as black as the ace of spades. He carries a pad of paper with him and answers all questions by writing them in Hebrew and it says here, notice what this says here, Loshin Kadesh, or as we know it as Lashawan Kadash, the holy tongue, right? That's what that means. What excites the most wonder is that he writes, I would say Lashon Kadash, very rapidly. It is the language of the books of Moses and is made a special study of and spoken and what does that say? And writing with ease. Oh, writing and writes. Oh, excuse me. Writes with ease only by the rabbis and highly educated Hebrews. The Negro was sent to one of the rabbis in Hartford, who is perfectly satisfied that he is a Hebrew. He says that he came from a large town in Africa where there are a tribe of about 200,000 black Hebrews who speak Lashawan Kadash, and are quite prosperous. He also says that his father is a rabbi in the town and that is why his father took the trouble to teach him to write these languages, which he needed an extra amount of labor on account his of his being deaf and dumb. Further on, it says he he says his people not only write Lashawan Kadash, but it is their but it is their speaking language as well. So this is the way he speaks. It says he left home a few years ago and has seen a good deal of the world. In each town, he hunts up It says I would say J-ish section, and there they gave him clothes and food and money. What surprises him, he writes, is that no Hebrews known of his countrymen in Africa. Okay, so this is pretty much the article here, right? So what I can do, it says, oh, here's the publication. It says the Houston Daily Post, so September 20th, 1897, right? So what I'll do, I can link this in the description below, but this is an actual article that was published, right? So, this is probably a very essentially a shock to a lot of our people when you think of our people in America and in the West today, because a lot of our people they don't have a lot of our people don't have a full understanding of what happened to them prior to you arriving in um, on the western shores, on the western coast of Africa, I should say. So let's start with this precept here. It says Luke 12 and 2. So it says, for nothing, Yahweh speaking, for there is nothing uncovered that shall not be revealed, neither anything hid that shall be made known. And right, and this is what is being brought out and being broadcasted through our apostles and elders on down, this type of information, because we're no longer calling ourselves these different bywords and these different not proverbs, but different bywords that were put on us. Because really, when you think about it, all these different bywords that we called ourselves, especially being woken up to the fact that we're Israelites, is that all these bywords really and truly cause division. What was the precept I was going to get? Oh, okay. So, this is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. It says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know. My people doth not consider. Right, and this is what happens when we've strayed away so far, away from home. We're kind of like that son in the parable of the prodigal son that spent, you know, um, their lives in essentially riotous living, worshiping other gods and doing things that were displeasing towards the Heavenly Father. So what happened? We wandered so far away from home, and now, we've had and lost our heritage, our customs, our language, the way we interact with each other, our conduct. Ooh, goodness, our conduct is sorely lacking as a people, sorely lacking as a nation, where the nations look at us and they look at us in disgust, right? There's no respect, when they look at us as a people, they look at us because there is no respect. Because why? We disrespected our power. We disrespected Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? There is that glow. As a matter of fact, let me get that. Let me get that in Lamentations. Lamentations 4 verse 1, it says, how is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of the street. The precious sons of Zion comparable to fine gold. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers? The work of the hands of the potter, right? So, we went from a very, very glorious state to a very desolate state, to becoming a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? And, this is part of what happened, right? So this article kind of just gives a little bit of remnant as to our culture, our heritage, because from I've done a couple lessons on this in regards to a lot of our people still adhering to particular customs in Western, so-called Western African cultures. Really and truly, when you really strip away the the strip away the actual when you really dive deep into it, you really see and understand that okay, these people are they're Israelites that actually are practicing Israelite customs in their spirit, right? They're just not naming themselves and calling themselves upon as Israelites, right? Even to this day, for just a quick testimony, that I met a driver from Ghana recently, and he told me his father still lives in Ghana. His father has three wives, right? And that's common. That's very, that's part of our culture. That's part of our customs, right? And part of our customs is, is this language, Lashon Kadash, right? So, what I also wanted to do as well is to actually bring out a little bit more information in regards to this account, into this article. So, in my hands, I have another book called this book is called From Babylon to Timbuktu, a history of the black races, including the black Hebrews, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to jump to, just bear with me on this. I believe it's page, just bear with me 1 second. Okay, this is page 84 in Babylon and Timbuktu. So this head, okay, this is the heading here is North African Black Jews, right? So just bear with me on this. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but hopefully this is edifying, right? So it says here, in the year 65. Okay, yes. So it says in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, which is Anno Domini, which is after the death of who the world calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jayish state. So essentially, I'm just going to say Israelite state. So um, with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period of Pompey Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were filled with black Jayish slaves, right? And that adds to the prophecy that we would be scattered from one end of the earth to another. And one of those places we got scattered into was Africa, right? So let me get that. Deuteronomy 28. Okay, Deuteronomy 28, verse 64, and it says, And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So this is one of the prophecies that took place for, essentially transgressing against the Heavenly Father, is the fact that we would be scattered into different lands, and then we would, worship all these different other gods, right? The gods of the heathen, right? There's a little bit more, so let me jump to I believe it's page 91. Just bear with me on this one. Hold on, because they were examples of black J-ish empires in Ghana, present day Ghana, so to speak, right? Just give me 1 second. So that's how a lot of our people. That's one of the reasons that this man here knows Hebrew, because a lot of our people fled into the interiors of Africa after that besiegement of that destroying of the Second Temple, right? And we haven't returned home ever since, essentially. So let's see. Okay, so this is page 90. It says the black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them. They assured them a constant precedent for the development of higher social organization because of the stability of the black J-ish culture. The Jews were not absorbed into the autonomous population. In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes. The Jews made use of every opportunity. They were an industrious and skillful people, and that's right. And that we're very very known for that, right? And I think there's an account with I believe it's David during the time when he was pretty persecuted by Saul. He was also doing some essentially um, the king at the time. I think his name was I think it was Achish, the king of Gath. He was a Philistine, and he was impressed by essentially David's work, right? I think that's in first. I think it's in First Samuel, the 29th chapter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but continuing on, it says the Jews had made use of every opportunity. They were an industrial and skillful people. And in the Jewish Ghanaian states, they were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, language interpreters, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leather workers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, and agriculturalists. Um, the Black Hebrew kings of Ghana had two titles. Here it says Kayamaga, so the master of gold, and Ghana, war chief, right? So there's evidence of these particular um, of Israelites that dwelt and and set up. We set essentially what we did. When we fled into the interiors of Africa, we set up shop essentially, and we had we had a thriving. We tend to we tend to be very industrious as a people, right? And that's one thing that Esau doesn't like, right? Because he wants you to always be a tributary rather than come to him for the want of all things, like the scriptures always say. But he doesn't want you to be essentially independent from him, right? So let me get Luke. Okay, Luke 21 verse 23, and it says, Yahweh is speaking, that woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for they shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles, the other nations, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Right? So, um, actually, let me read verse 21. It says, "And let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto." Right? So that is the destruction and of the second temple. And then essentially what happens is a bulk of our people, they fled. So a bulk of our people fled into Africa. So a lot of our people ended up there. They fled into different parts of Asia, in different parts of, and even far up as Europe, right? Because, the Roman Empire was, a very, very vast empire in that known world at that time, right? They even had controls of the Gauls, right? And Gauls is like, provinces in like where modern day France is, right? So the Roman Empire was a very, very large empire, and we fled, and we haven't been, essentially we haven't been home ever since, right? So your people need to get out of this idea. A lot of Israelites, you need to break off this mentality and this idea that you are Africans. You are not Africans. Africans are descendants of Ham, right? You are a descendant of Shem, all the way down to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Let me just get that. Okay, Exodus 11, verse 7, and it says, "But against any of the children of Israel but against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord Yahweh doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel." And we're not the same people. We have a very similar skin complexion, when you really think about like the Southern Kingdom per se, and then the original Egyptians. But as a people, we're not the same people, and our people need to get out of that mindset, because we've just been dwelling in Africa for over 1,000 years, almost 2,000 years, right? And during that time, like the book was bringing out, we had these different kingdoms, we were doing business, right? Until it was time for us to fall again and come into slavery on ships, like it says in Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, and then we ended up on this side of the world, the right. So yeah, so a lot of you Israelites need to break off from that mindset that you are Africans. You're not Africans, right? You are Israelites, right, from your respective different tribes, right? So anyways, that's kind of really the point. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to touch on. As a matter of fact, I guess I'll just end off with this precept, since we're on the mindset of breaking away from those essentially those strongholds that Esau has put on us, right? Because these elites essentially know, right? Like I read a memo about this Edomite that passed away, Henry Kissinger. He passed away I think it was last November. And back in 1969, when he was close with, I don't know if it was I believe it was either the Lyndon Johnson administration or the Nixon administration. Either one, you could probably look this up. You could type in Henry Kissinger, Igbo 1969 memo. Anyways, the point really is, they knew that they were wandering Jews that fled into Africa, right? And they wrote this, and this memo came out in 1969, which is a very, very important, important year when you read Revelation 11 and 11, right? So back to the earlier point in breaking off from these mindsets that's been placed upon our people. This is Baruch 4:1, and it says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life," right? And you Israelites are spiritually dead. You're honestly spiritually dead, because you're taking in the philosophies of this world. You're drinking that Babylonian wine that's keeping you in a dead state of mind, right? It says, "But all that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." Verse 2, it says, Turn ye thee, excuse me, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated, right? And that's what this wisdom and knowledge and understanding is. It's, that brings that gold, like I was reading in Lamentations, it brings that essentially that gold back, that sparkle, that, how scriptures talk about a wisdom's a man's goodness, how does it go? Um, wisdom maketh a man's face to shine. Okay, Brakathe, how about you know shine? Wisdom maketh a man's face to shine, right? This is what this wisdom and knowledge understanding does, and it changes the way you conduct yourself, and it changes the way you walk, and not meaning physically, but it makes us more upright, right? It gives us standards, morals, character, all these different facets, and these Israelites in the world are missing, right? This is why this is so important and so imperative, coming back to your heritage and knowing that who you are as a people, right? And looking at the ways of your forefathers, right? Like it says in Job chapter 8, right? So anyways, I've rambled long enough, but hopefully this lesson was edifying. Just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, for teaching us his truth. Till next time, I say, Shalom.